Hi, I'm Nico and welcome back to ND Puzzles. Today I want to continue the PuzzleCADon series and teach you how to design your very own puzzles. After I've shown you how to install Onshape and prepare your workshop, I now finally want to show you how to design a puzzle in Onshape. This video will cover the basic concepts of twisty puzzle design while still sticking to the most basic mechanisms you could imagine. I want you to understand what I'm explaining, which is why I won't start with a 3x3 but instead show you an easier puzzle first. But before I start, I'd like you to open Onshape as well and work along. I'm planning to make this full video series kind of interactive and would be really happy if you would follow my instructions and design your own puzzle. At the end of this video I'll announce the first PuzzleCADon design competition. I'll then ask you to send us your own designs built up on what you've learned here. The best one will be shown in our next episode, so stick along until the very end of this video. That being said, we can now start to design our puzzle. First of all, open a new project in Onshape. Now you can access the three main planes: top, front and right. As a first step, we obviously need a solid to work with. To get that one, you could either extrude a sketch or just use the polyhedron generator you installed last time. Although that would be easier, I will now show you how to create a sketch, as this is a very important tool of a CAD software that you should really train yourself at. To create a sketch, just click at the plane you like to create a sketch on. In our case, I'm choosing the top plane. Now click at this sketch icon in the upper left corner. To have a top look at the sketch, just press the N key on your keyboard and Onshape will automatically zoom in and give you the view which is normally the plane you just choose. To have a top look at the sketch, just press the N key on your keyboard and Onshape will automatically zoom in and give you the view which is normal to the plane you just chose. Now you are in the sketch menu. On the top of your screen you can see several sketch tools ranging from the simple line to the complex shapes and even text. As I don't want to show everything in this video, I'd suggest you to experiment with those features and see how you can create sketches yourself. For now, I'll try to create a rectangle as a base shape of a cuboid. For later steps you will want to have a rectangle or a square that is somehow connected to the origin. That is why I chose a so-called central pointed rectangle. You can access it by hitting the drop down arrow next to the rectangle. Now choose that shape and you will notice that our mouse turned into a cross. Try to fetch the origin with this cross and click on it. If you now move the mouse, you can choose the size of the rectangle. Click anywhere to set the rectangle. Now it would be useful to set a certain size of the rectangle. To do that, you only have to click at this dimension tool here or press D on your keyboard. Now click on the edge you want to define and type in a value. Notice that all measurements are in millimeters if you followed our instructions in the first video. I'll repeat this step with the other edge and give it a different value. Now you can see that the sketch is fully defined, which is indicated by the blue lines turning black. That is a good sign and we know that we did everything correct. Now you can click on the OK button to close and finish the sketch. Congratulations! You've now got a rectangle. Well, kind of lame. Not exactly what we imagine as a puzzle and not even a 3D solid either. But wait! Until I show you how to convert this boring rectangle into a 3D solid. To do that, there are basically two features: extrude and revolve. Revolve is used to create rotating solids. If you used this feature on a rectangle, you end up with a cylinder. As we want to go for a cuboid through, we chose extrude function. Once you clicked on the icon, a new menu opens and asks for input. First you have to choose face or sketch you want to extrude. So click on your mighty rectangle now. If you now use the mouse wheel to move the three-dimensional room, you will notice that it has actually created a solid block out of our sketch. Now just type in the right value. I'm using 40mm again here. And it will give you a cuboid of the wished size. Now we as puzzle designers have to change this drop down option, as well as we don't want to have a block sitting on top of the plane, but would like to keep it centered. To do so, we can just choose symmetry. Now press OK and you will have a cube. Not quite a twisty puzzle yet, but at least it is a cube. Also have a look at the left column where you can now see part 1 listed. To create a twisty puzzle, we now have to cut the solid we just created in pieces. If you are now wondering why we use this approach instead of just designing individually pieces, that is a good point. But in puzzle design, it is common to design a cross-section of mechanisms, which makes it much easier to create pieces that actually fit into each other. It also allows you to design a puzzle without knowing in advance how every single piece will look like. That might sound strange at first, but once you get this concept, it is very easy to design puzzles. We are going to tell you more about puzzle cross-section in a future video, once we get to a more complex puzzle. But at first, we want to continue with the very basic 1x1x2 cuboid. What do you have to do to this boring block in order to turn it into a twisty puzzle? Well, cut it in half. Let me just show you how to use the middle plane to cut it into 2 pieces, and voila, you are done. Well, not exactly. You now have 2 pieces and basically a 1x1x2, but they are just bricks that you could stack onto each other, but nothing that would hold together probably. So, in order to create a working puzzle that doesn't fall apart and works without magnets, you have to add a mechanism to this basic cut, and that's where things get complicated. Remember what I said about scratched earlier? Well, now is the point at which you will need them again. The sketch that follows now is the most important part of the whole design. It will either make your puzzle work or fail. So pay attention and pause the video if you would like to see things again. It is completely understandable if you are not fast enough to work along right away. But if you train sketching and watching this video a few times, you will get better. So enough said, let's go to action. At first, choose the front plane and create a new sketch on it. Press N to move to the normal perspective. Now start with a rotating axis line. What we want to design now is a hook that will hold the pieces in place.
To do so, we need a sketch that we can later rotate around an axis using the revolve feature. So we always have to start with a rotating line. Click on the line tool, you will be able to draw a line. If you want to be professional, also click at this dotted line thing up there to make the line look different than our others. That also prevents the program from confusing it as part of your sketch. Fetch the original and draw the line to the right. Make sure that you see this horizontal icon before left clicking. Press exit to exit the line tool. Now choose the line tool again and just follow my moves. Make sure that every line is either horizontal or vertical. The dimensions don't matter right now. It is just important that you get the basic shape of the hook. Start the first line right above the origin. A yellow dotted line shows you that you are collinear to it. Now keep drawing lines like I do it until you end with this rook hook thing. Make sure to lock the last line into the rotating axis before you hit exit. Now look what we created. This first line will go through the center of the cuboid, dividing it just like the plane would have done. The rest adds a hook that will be attached to the left block. It will keep it from falling out. Once you created the surface of this sketch, You will cut the pieces so that you will have the negative of this hook embedded into the right block. I'll just show you what I mean. Leave the sketch again and click on the revolve icon. Now choose surface. After that you can select every line of your hook. As a last step, click on the revolve axis, which is our dotted line. Now hit OK and be amazed. If you now hide the part, you can see that you will end up with a hook-shaped surface. All you have to do now is to use the cutting tool to cut the body using this surface just like I'm showing you right now. Choose the body and the surface just like you are asking to and hit OK. Then you will have a fully functional 1x1x2. To see the mechanism, just hide one of the pieces and you will see the hook. Now the puzzle is basically done. Obviously, in order to 3D print it, you will have to add tolerances and fills to the pieces, but that will be a part of another video, as this one is already getting pretty long. Before you go, I want to show you a few things you can do with this design. First of all, you can always go back in time and change the sketch. Just double click on it in the timeline and it will open again. Now you can set measurements to, for instance, make the hook a bit stronger. Basically you can still change the whole sketch and move it around if you want to. Once you hit OK again, Onshape will automatically calculate the new model and boom, there is the advanced hook. So this is as much as I want to show you today. I hope you are not disappointed that we haven't been able to design the most complex puzzle today. But I didn't want to start too hard. Please let me know if the way we are presenting this is understandable or if you would like anything to change. Besides that, I recommend you to just try this design yourself and experiment with it. As a kind of homework or challenge, I want you to come up with a puzzle that uses a similar mechanism but is somehow more interesting than this block. Try to use multiple cuts like the one I just showed to get an even more complex puzzle, and then just try to be creative and create your own puzzle. Just so you have an idea of what's possible with this little information I just gave you. This tangram block puzzle designed by Dario uses nothing more than what I just showed you today. So I challenge you to create your own 1x1x something puzzle variation and send me the design. Therefore just use the Onshape share option and type in our email address ndpuzzles@gmail.com. I'd be really happy if anybody enters this concept and will be showing the best design in the next episode of PuzzleCADon, which will probably be released in 2 weeks. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video today and I'm looking forward to welcome you again next time. Have a nice day, bye!